Hi, happy Monday. It's heading towards March 15th, so don't forget if you got a corporate return, it's due this Friday, so get it done or get extensions done or face penalties. Hey, this is Wayne Blau with another smart profit maximizing moment. Today we're going to talk about managing by walking around, which I believe is one of the keys to employee productivity. And it separates, in my opinion, a good manager from a bad manager, though doesn't necessarily make a bad manager a good manager, if you understand what I mean. Anyways, again, my name is Wayne Blau. I'm a founder of a local CPA firm that specializes in small businesses. We really do three things. We do tax returns, tax planning, where we've saved our clients $4.3 million, a little above that, in the last 3 years, and helping our clients make more money. We've been very successful at all three of those things, and we are very successful by focusing. Okay. I'm also the founder of the Smart Profit Maximizing System, which is the system I have created in order to help my business owners make more money. And I discussed that Friday, I think it was, and I'll bring it up again a little bit later. Anyways, management by walking around was popularized by Tom Peters and Robert Waterman in their bestseller In Search of Excellence, which I believe is the first place I ran across it in the 80s. When I was working at Magnolia Coca-Cola and was an accidental manager. Go back and watch one of those. What I mean by accidental manager is I was a CPA. I didn't have any management training. All of a sudden I was thrust into managing 40 some odd people and said, go get them, guy. Do your best. Because management's obviously easy. Steve Jobs was a master of this theory, a master practitioner. Not only did he talk to his employees, he often took customer service calls and called customers personally when they wrote with problems. He'd contact vendors to see how he could help them improve the supply chain. He really believed in getting down in the trenches, and that's kind of the difference between management by walking around. Is a practice that experienced MBWA, management by walking around, is a practice that business owners who are experiencing rapid growth should adopt. If you are seriously hiring a bunch of people, you need to get in the habit of doing this, all right? It's way too easy to get caught up in the trappings and responsibilities of being the boss. When I went to Magnolia Coca-Cola, the key management was actually separated. There, you went to the left, there was a management suite, and everybody was in there that was the top management. All right, I went in as the CFO. Actually, I went in as comptroller, then moved up to CFO, and actually nobody ever left. When I first went out and started walking around to see what my staff was doing and what was going on, and I was met with amazement almost, with like, wow, they're actually coming out here. And it took me probably a month of doing this before people just started realizing, oh, that's just Wayne, he's doing his thing. All right, and that's kind of important. Remember what a manager's main job is. That's kind of where a lot of people go wrong. A manager's main job consists of four main things. All right. First, prioritizing and standardizing how work should be completed. That's key. Set a goal. What's the target? What are we trying to get done around here? All right. Second thing, establishing time frames for completing the work. I'll get into that some other time, but if you give me a day, I'll get it done. You give me a week, yeah, I'll get it done. If you give me a month, I'm going to turn a mountain into a molehill. So it's important for me, a molehill into a mountain. Said that backwards, didn't I? Hate live sometimes. Can't go back and repeat and correct. Where you're setting time frames. And be careful what you set them. You're setting expectations. I got stories of things I've screwed up where I gave somebody something, forgot to tell them what to do. A week later, they're still working on it. I thought it was going to take 4 hours. All right. The third thing a manager is supposed to do is providing employees with adequate tools and training to get the job done in a timely manner. Okay. And fourth is evaluating the results. Now, that's not where you stop. Unfortunately, that's where most managers stop. What you're also supposed to do is adjusting and starting over again. So in other words, you see what worked, see what didn't work, adjust a little bit, retrain, refocus, and do it again and measure again, okay? Management by walking around works while you're wandering around talking to your employees. While you're doing that, you're ensuring that they are working on the right things in the right way, all right? And you can discover problems that could delay work while it is still early enough to correct them, all right? and you make sure that your employees have everything they need to complete their work. Management by walking around eliminates most excuses for not completing work on time and according to procedures. To make management by walking around work, follow these rules. It has to be a part of your daily routine, but don't take a routine path where you see the same employees at the same time every day. Management by walking around works best if you can see what is going on when your employees are not really expecting you. All right? Go by yourself. Don't bring your entourage. Don't bring all your assistants. You got to keep this casual and have a string of one-on-one conversations with your employees to uncover problems. You don't want it to look like you're ganging up on your staff, and you want it to look normal. It's just Wayne. Okay, he's just walking around. He just likes to see what's going on. Always ask for suggestions and be sure to recognize good ideas. All right. One of the things I learned the hard way, and this is a story I used to say this. When I got to Magnolia Coca-Cola, I was dealing with the upper management a lot of times, and the top salesperson had grown up in the bottling industry. I mean, he'd just been there since he was a kid, been the sales manager for a long time, and then became the vice president in charge of sales. And, I was doing my accounting side of it, cost accounting, and I saw that 2-liter, 3-liter bottles, we had a higher profit margin than cans. And I brought the idea to him, and he goes, yeah, that's interesting. Let's think about that. Brought it to the president, and he said, yeah, let's do that. First month, great. Works fantastic. Put 2, 3-liter on sale, had a huge margin, sold more of it. The second month, not so well, but still worked. Third month was a catastrophe. And fourth month, so on. I go out and we'll talk to people that are loading the trucks and the warehouse managers, and I talk to the salesman, and the problem is, can't put as many cases on of 2 and 3-liter on a truck as you can of cans. All right. So what was happening is that the trucks we had to use all the trucks, so there was no maintenance being done until they broke down because we couldn't take any out of fleet. They're much heavier to use and much heavier to lift, so we were having more injuries, and it was causing more overtime. If I'd gone and talked to the warehouse manager and the people, the main salespeople, they were out there. Luckily, they blamed it on their boss, who really should have known better, but had not been out in the field in so long, he'd forgotten. All right. So I kind of learned that I had to go out and talk to the people on the line. All right. You don't want to look like. Third rule I have is don't play favorites. Be sure to visit all your employees, not all on the same day. Probably it may be impossible, but try to get to as many as possible. Even the janitor and the newest employee. You never know who will have an interesting idea for providing better customer service or delivering your service or product more efficiently. Fourth, always ask for suggestions and be sure to recognize good ideas. I think I said that out of order somewhere. All right. Fifth, always answer your employees' questions. Make sure you always give your employees an answer to their questions or problem, even if the answer is, I need time to think about that. I'm not really sure, or I need to research that. I'll get back to you. And then make sure you do get back to them, okay? 6, don't criticize, all right? And remember, this is a fact-finding mission with a secondary mission of building team rapport. If you see something that needs to be addressed, definitely try to find a more appropriate time. All right. Of course, if you see a customer or another employee being handled in a way you find inappropriate, you need to step in right away. But then pull aside and explain. Finally, 7th, make sure the managers know what you're doing and are also practicing management by walking around. It's very important that you don't appear to be undercutting your managers. Make sure they know what's going on. They need to know if there is a problem, you will bring it to their attention. You won't go around them. Okay. They need to. Don't ever stop just because an employee does not like you talking to their employees. I had that happen. All right. One of my managers underneath me didn't like me talking to them. We had a long discussion of why. Tell me why. And I explained what management by walking around. And, it's simple as that. Remember, you're the owner. They're all your employees. You have the right to go talk to them. Now, don't undercut them. Don't go that far. But you need to know what's going on in your business. There's a cartoon that I used to use when I was explaining management by walking around. The guy says, one guy's shaking another person's hand saying, congratulations, you've just been made president, and that's the last honest thing you'll ever hear. Well, it's kind of true about being the owner of a business. As you hire employees, you're often the last to know. So make sure you go. Now, when do you start this? As soon as you have a layer between you and the employees. So what do I mean by that? As soon as you have a manager between you and the employees, you've hired an assistant manager, put somebody in charge, that's when you need to do a little bit of management by walking around. Start early when you're small. If you're larger now, get in the habit of doing it. It really does work. Remember what the goal is. The goal is to deliver a quality product every time to your employees, to your customers, and really to treat your employees according to the golden rule. Hey, this is Wayne Blau. Until next time, saying let's make this our most profitable year ever. Thank you very much. Let's shut this.